Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are looking at a literal automotive icon at what is definitely a pivotal moment in history. The era of the legendary naturally aspirated V10 engine is officially over. With Lamborghini pulling the plug on this spectacular powertrain, the urgency to understand and maybe even grab a piece of this history for yourself has literally never been higher. So today, we're putting together the ultimate used buyer's guide for the Lamborghini Huracan, breaking down absolutely everything you need to know if you've got your eye on this incredible machine.
Okay, let's dive into this. We've got a perfectly structured roadmap for analyzing this supercar's phenomenal 10-year lifespan. We'll start with the heart of the beast, trace its generations and special editions, step inside the cockpit, reveal a massive surprise about its maintenance, break down the exact used market pricing, and finally, get behind the wheel to talk about the driving experience. First up, Section 1, the last V10 legend, the heart of the beast.
So to really understand the Huracan, which had an amazing run from the 2015 all the way to the 2024 model year, it honestly all comes down to just one number, 5.2. This car is entirely defined by its massive 5.2-liter naturally aspirated 10-cylinder engine. And with the brand new Temerario stepping up to take its place, the Huracan is officially the very last Lamborghini to ever feature this roaring V10. Mated to a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission, this engine pushes anywhere from 580 to around 630 horsepower, depending on the model you're looking at. It'll rocket you from 0 to 60 in the mid-2-second range. I mean, it is just pure, visceral, unadulterated power.
Moving right along to Section 2, Generations and Special Editions, tracing a decade of evolution.
Over its 10-year run, the Huracan didn't just sit still. It evolved. It got lighter, faster, and way more specialized. Starting with the first generation, running from 2015 to about 2019, you've got your LP models. That's the LP 580-2 if you want rear-wheel drive, and the LP 610-4 for all-wheel drive. Then, right in the middle of that generation, the Performante dropped. And wow, this was a lighter, faster, totally track-focused beast that shaved off 80 pounds and bumped the horsepower up to 630. Plus, it brought in some seriously advanced active aero. After that, in 2020, we get the second generation, the Evo. The Evo basically took that incredible 630 horsepower performance from the Performante and absorbed it right into the standard lineup. It ditched the LP naming convention completely and brought a fresh, updated design to the front and rear bumpers.
But, Lamborghini didn't stop there. They rolled out some truly insane special editions. First off, the STO. This is essentially a track-ready race car that is somehow legally built for the road. It's wildly track-focused, featuring this massive one-piece carbon fiber front hood and fender clamshell they call the Cafango. It is a brutal ride, pushing 50% more downforce than the Performante. Now, because the STO was honestly a bit too harsh to just daily drive, they came up with the Technica. This gives you the extra power and aero of the STO, but tones it down just enough to actually be livable on the street. And then, finally, the absolute wildest of them all, the Sterato. This is an all-wheel drive, off-road focused Huracan with a 1.5-inch suspension lift, wide fender flares, and literal rally lights. People actually take these out to rip donuts in the dirt. Plus, thanks to that softer, taller suspension, it's famously comfortable on regular roads.
That brings us to Section 3, inside the supercar cockpit, where a fighter jet feel meets modern tech.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the evolution of the Huracan's interior. Back in the first generation, you're seeing a heavy reliance on basic Audi rotary controls and toggle switches. Pretty much all your multimedia engages are crammed into one highly configurable screen right in front of the steering wheel. But jump to the second generation Evo, and the center stack gets this massive, sleek upgrade to a modern multimedia touchscreen. Plus, when you drop the Evo into its most aggressive drive mode, you get this massive SVJ-style tachometer that completely dominates the display. But honestly, regardless of the generation, you're getting surprisingly great visibility for a mid-engine exotic. Oh, and you still get that iconic, dramatic fighter jet flap you literally have to flip up just to hit the start button. I gotta say, that never gets old.
Let's move to Section 4, maintenance and surprising reliability. This right here is the absolute secret to the Huracan's success.
Here is a major narrative twist for anyone who just assumes Italian exotics are fragile and constantly living in the shop. The truth is, the Huracan is incredibly reliable. Because it utilizes bulletproof Audi electronics and engine architecture, these cars just do not break down. It's actually surprisingly common to see Huracans hit 100,000 miles needing absolutely nothing more than basic annual oil changes. And you want to know what's even more jaw-dropping? If you're even slightly handy, you can do that oil change yourself for less than $150.
Outside of maybe a random sensor wearing out as the 2015 models hit that decade mark, or your standard differential and transmission flushes, these machines are virtually rock solid. People twin-turbo them, beat on them at the track, and they just keep going.
Which perfectly sets up Section 5, pricing the used market, finding the sweet spot.
So because the reliability is so stellar on these, you really shouldn't be terrified of buying a higher mileage Huracan. And that makes the used market incredibly attractive right now. Let's break down these numbers. A first-generation LP model is going to run you somewhere between $150,000 and $215,000. And listen, finding an all-wheel drive LP model for well under $200K, that is an unbelievable amount of car for the money. If you want the track-ready Performante, that jumps up to the $270,000 to $350,000 range. The second-generation Evo sits broadly between $225,000 and $350,000. And if you're hunting for the extreme special editions, the STO commands about $330,000 to $420,000, while the Technica and Storado are holding strong between $300,000 and $350,000.
But if we are looking for the absolute sweet spot in this entire lineup, it sits right here, right around $220,000. For that price, you can very often secure a rear-wheel drive Evo model. You are getting the best modern styling, that updated touchscreen interior, and the refined second-generation suspension, all without paying the massive premium of the special editions. It's a fantastic deal.
Section 6. The driving experience. The split personality. Let's move to the steering wheel drive mode toggle and see how this car builds from a docile commuter into an absolute monster. In Strata mode, the car is shockingly normal. The suspension is smooth, the gear changes are seamless, and it's quiet enough to easily be your daily driver. But toggle it down to Sport mode, and the personality shifts entirely. The steering gets noticeably heavier, the transmission holds those gears way longer, and the exhaust starts letting out these wild, aggressive cracks when you push it. Then, finally, you flip it to Corsa mode. The entire car stiffens up instantly. It becomes incredibly tight, tracking flat just like a go-kart. And every single gear change delivers a visceral, dramatic kick in the back. It gives you that true, terrifyingly fun Lamborghini drama on demand.
When you put all of this information together, a very clear thesis emerges. The Huracan is quite literally the absolute best bang-for-your-buck supercar on the planet. It manages to give you all the flamboyant, head-turning flair and the dramatic, naturally aspirated V10 performance of a Lamborghini, but it does it while resting on the remarkably simple, reliable, and easy-to-maintain foundation of an Audi. It's a genuine exotic car that you can actually drive without constant anxiety about massive repair bills.
Which leaves us with this final thought. We are stepping into an era of increasingly complex, hybridized powertrains. With the legendary naturally aspirated V10 officially retired, it really makes you wonder, is the Lamborghini Huracan the last true, worry-free supercar we will ever see? It's a fascinating question, and one that makes the current used market for these incredible machines just that much more tempting. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.